Chapter 6. And he went away from there, and came into his country, and his disciples went with him.
他就离开那里，到了自己的国家，他的门徒也跟他去了。
And when the Sabbath day had come, he was teaching in the synagogue, and a number of people hearing him were surprised, saying, From where did this man get these things? And, what is the wisdom given to this man? And what are these works of power done by his hands?
安息日到了，他在会堂里教训人，有好些人听见他的话，就稀奇说，这人从哪里得着这些事呢？又说，这人有什么智慧？他手所做的这些能力的工作是什么呢？
Is not this the woodworker, the son of Mary, and brother of James and Joses and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us? And they were bitter against him.
这不是玛利亚的儿子雅各、约西、犹大、西门的兄弟，那个木工吗？他的姊妹不是和我们在这里吗？他们就怨恨他。
And Jesus said to them, A prophet is nowhere without honor, but in his country, and among his relations, and in his family. And he was unable to do any work of power there, but only to put his hands on one or two persons who were ill, and make them well.
耶稣对他们说，先知无处不尊贵，只是在他的国家，在他的亲戚，在他的家里，他在那里不能做什么权柄的事，不过是把他的手放在一两个有病的人身上，使他们好了。
And he was greatly surprised because they had no faith. And he went about the country places teaching, and he gave orders to the 12, and sent them out 2 by 2, and he gave them authority over the unclean spirits.
他大吃一惊，因为他们没有信心，他就到各处去教训人。他给12个人下了命令，派他们两个的出去，给他们权柄对付不洁的灵。
And he said that they were to take nothing for their journey, but a stick only, no bread, no bag, no money in their pockets. They were to go with common shoes on their feet, and not to take 2 coats.
他又说，他们在路上什么都不要带，只带一根棍子，不要面包，不要袋子，口袋里不要钱。他们脚上要穿普通的鞋，不要带2件衣裳。
And he said to them, Wherever you go into a house, make that your resting place till you go away. And whatever place will not take you in and will not give ear to you, when you go away, put off the dust from your feet as a witness against them.
他又对他们说，你们无论到哪里去，都要在那里安歇，直到你们离开。无论什么地方不接纳你们，不听你们的话，你们走的时候，要脱去脚上的尘土，为他们做见证。
And they went out, preaching the need for a change of heart in men. And they sent out a number of evil spirits, and put oil on a great number who were ill, and made them well.
他们就出去了，传讲人要改变心意。他们打发了好些恶鬼，把油涂在许多有病的人身上，就使他们好了。
And King Herod had news of him, because his name was on the lips of all, and he said, John the Baptist has come back from the dead, and for this reason these powers are working in him. But others said, It is Elijah. And others said, It is a prophet, even like one of the prophets.
希律王有他的消息，因为他的名字在众人口中。他说，施洗约翰从死里复活了，为此这些能力在他身上作祟。又有人说，这是以利亚；又有人说，这是个先知，甚至像先知中的一个。
But Herod, when he had news of it, said, John, whom I put to death, has come back from the dead. For Herod himself had sent men out to take John and put him in prison, because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, whom he had taken for himself.
希律得了这个消息，就说，我所杀的约翰已经从死里复活了。因为希律自己派人去捉拿约翰，把他关在监里，因为他哥哥腓力的妻子希罗底，他把他据为己有。
For John said to Herod, It is wrong for you to have your brother's wife. And Herodias was bitter against him, desiring to put him to death, but she was not able.
约翰对希律说，你娶你兄弟的妻子，是不对的。希罗底对他怀恨在心，想把他杀了，但他没有能力。
For Herod was in fear of John, being conscious that he was an upright and holy man, and kept him safe. And hearing him, he was much troubled, and he gave ear to him gladly.
因为希律惧怕约翰，知道他是个正直圣洁的人，就保守他。他听了他的话，心里甚是忧虑，就欢喜听他的话。
And the chance came when Herod on his birthday gave a feast to his lords, and the high captains, and the chief men of Galilee.
机会来了，希律在他生日的时候，给他的诸侯和大头目， 并加利利的首领们设宴。
And when the daughter of Herodias herself came in and did a dance, Herod and those who were at table with him were pleased with her. And the king said to the girl, Make a request for anything and I will give it you.
希罗底的女儿自己进来跳舞，希律和与她同桌的人都喜欢她。王就对那女子说：“你求什么，我必给你。”她发了誓，对他说：“无论你有什么要求，我都给你。”
And he took an oath, saying to her, Whatever is your desire I will give it to you, even half of my kingdom. And she went out and said to her mother, What is my request to be? And she said, The head of John the Baptist.
就是我国土的一半也给你。他就出去，对他母亲说：“我的要求是什么呢？”他说：“施洗约翰的头。”
And she came in quickly to the king, and said, My desire is that you give me straight away on a plate the head of John the Baptist. And the king was very sad, but because of his oaths, and those who were with him at table, he would not say no to her.
他就快步进了王那里，说：“我的意思是要你把施洗约翰的头直接放在盘子里给我。”国王很难过，但因他的誓约，和同桌的人就不对他说不。
And straightway the king sent out one of his armed men, and gave him an order to come back with the head, and he went and took off John's head in prison, and came back with the head on a plate, and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother.
国王就打发一个带兵的出去，吩咐他带着头回来，他就去把约翰的头在监里摘下来。回来的时候，把头放在盘子里，交给那女子，那女子就交给他母亲。
And when his disciples had news of it, they came and took up his body, and put it in its last resting place. And the 12 came together to Jesus, and they gave him an account of all the things they had done, and all they had been teaching.
他的门徒得了消息，就来抬着他的身体，放在最后安放的地方。12个人聚集到耶稣那里，把他们所行的一切事和所教的一切话都告诉他。
And he said to them, Come away by yourselves to a quiet place, and take a rest for a time. Because there were a great number coming and going, and they had no time even for food, and they went away in the boat to a waste place by themselves.
耶稣对他们说：“你们自己到一个安静的地方去，暂时歇一歇吧，因为来往的人很多，连吃饭都没有时间。”他们就自己坐船到一个荒僻的地方去了。
And the people saw them going, and a number of them, having knowledge who they were, went running there together on foot from all the towns, and got there before them.
众人看见他们去，有好些人知道他们是谁，就从各城里一同跑到那里去，比他们先到。
And he got out, and saw a great mass of people, and he had pity on them, because they were like sheep without a keeper, and he gave them teaching about a number of things. And at the end of the day, his disciples came to him and said, This place is waste land, and it is late.
他出来，看见一大群人，就怜悯他们，因为他们像没有人看守的羊，就给他们讲了许多话。到了晚上，他的门徒来见他，说：“这地方是荒地，天色已晚。”
Send them away, so that they may go into the country and small towns round about, and get some food for themselves. But he said to them in answer, Give them food yourselves. And they said to him, Are we to go and get bread for 200 pence, and give it to them?
打发他们走，好让他们到周围的乡村和小城去，为自己找些食物。他却对他们说：“你们自己给他们吃吧。”他们说：“难道我们要去拿200便士的饼，给他们吃吗？”
And he said to them, How much bread have you? Go and see. And when they had seen, they said, 5 cakes of bread and 2 fishes. And he made them all be seated in groups on the green grass, and they were placed in groups, by hundreds and by 50s.
他说：“你们有多少饼？去看吧。”他们看了，就说：“有5饼2鱼。”他就叫他们都在青草地上分批坐定。他们按着100人和50人分了组。
And he took the 5 cakes of bread and the 2 fishes and, looking up to heaven, he said words of blessing over them, and when the cakes were broken, he gave them to the disciples to put before the people, and he made division of the 2 fishes among them all.
他拿着5饼2鱼，仰望着天，对他们说祝福的话，饼擘开了，就交给门徒，叫他们放在众人面前，又把2鱼分给他们。
And they all took of the food and had enough. And they took up 12 baskets full of the broken bits and of the fishes. And those who took of the bread were 5,000 men.
他们都拿着食物，吃得很饱。他们拿了12个篮子，装满了碎饼和鱼。吃饼的人有5000人。
And straightway he made his disciples get into the boat, and go before him to the other side to Bethsaida, while he himself sent the people away. And after he had sent them away, he went up into a mountain for prayer.
他就叫门徒上了船，在他前面往伯赛大那边去，自己却打发人走。打发他们走了以后，就上山去祷告。
And by evening, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he by himself on the land. And seeing that they had trouble in getting their boat through the water, because the wind was against them, about the 4th watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea, and he would have gone past them.
到了晚上，船在海中央，他自己在陆地上。他见他们的船在水里难行，因为风是逆的。约在4更天的时候，他来到他们那里，在海面上行走。他本要过去。
But they, when they saw him walking on the sea, took him for a spirit, and gave a loud cry, for they all saw him, and were troubled. But straightway he said to them, Take heart, it is I, have no fear.
但他们看见他在海上行走，就以为他是个鬼，就大声喊叫，因为他们都看见他，心里很忧虑。但他直接对他们说：“你们放心，是我，不要怕。”
And he went to them into the boat, and the wind went down, and they were full of wonder in themselves, for it was not clear to them about the bread, but their hearts were hard. And when they had gone across, they came to Gennesaret, and got their boat to land.
他就向他们上了船，风就下去了。他们自己也满心惊奇，因为他们不清楚面包的事，心里却很难受。他们过了海，就到了根尼撒勒，把船靠了岸。
And when they had got out of the boat, the people quickly had news of him, and went running through all the country round about, and took on their beds those who were ill, to where it was said that he was.
他们下了船，众人就快有了他的消息，就跑遍了周围所有的地方，把有病的人抱在床上，往传闻中他所在的地方去。
And wherever he went, into small towns, or great towns, or into the country, they took those who were ill into the places, requesting him that they might put their hands even on the edge of his robe, and all those who did so were made well.
凡他所到的地方，或小城，或大城，或乡间，都把有病的人带到市集上，求他把手放在他袍子的边上。凡这样做的人都好了。